I've just woken up, I've got a cup of tea and I've already had a bowl of cereal. Kunos Entertainment have released the McLaren mp4-12C GT3 for Assetto Corsa as part of the Valentine's Day update. So I'm going to jump in and give it a go. I've not tried it yet, so this is literally an off-the-cuff first impressions of this vehicle. Now, so far, Assetto Corsa has to be one of my favourite simulators to drive. Simply pushing a car around the track in AC is just enjoyable in and of itself. And I normally only enjoy multiplayer online racing. So, without further ado, the McLaren MP4 GT3 into the car. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay, it sounds alright. I mean, a lot of the cars in AC to me don't sound that fantastic. Even this car sounds a little bit robotic, but it's not too bad. I like to drive with the in-game steering wheel off because it makes me feel like my trusty 1930s G25 is the real car wheel. So far, it feels very stable around that first corner. I'm on Imola, which is one of my favourite tracks. I love tracks that have a bit of climb in them, some good variation of corners, and this track is one of the... Oh, braking distance is a bit longer than I expected there. Force feedback, really solid so far. I mean, it's exactly like the other cars in AC. It's communicating exactly what's going on. The loading of the car feels really good, actually. It's a little bit slower than I would have thought. I mean, obviously the speed will line up to the real car, but it seems a little bit slower than I would have thought. Feels a bit slower. Really nice, stable. GT3 cars are supposed to be quite easy to drive, if you'd believe what Chris Harris has said in some of his videos, which you need to go and watch, by the way. Google Chris Harris, watch all his videos because they're awesome. This feels really good. I can imagine this being a really nice car to to race against people online with. I think the thing with AC is the low speed, or when you're just getting it, the car is nice and stable. And a lot of people, I think, find the cars too easy to drive initially, and they are really easy to drive. And it's easy to think, oh, that's a bad thing, but to me, that's a good thing. But where they get difficult is when you're really pushing for the lap times, because when the cars start to get into little bits of slides, that's where you really, for me, that's where the depth comes out of the Assetto Corsa game engine. Just those trying not to slide and then getting into really tiny corrective slides. This car seems really good, actually. It seems that Kunos have improved the car behaviour over curves as well. That was one thing that the game seemed to have, was when you hit a curve it would get into a bouncy castle jelly bounce, and it would take a good 15 metres for the car to settle as it undulated up and down. That seems to have gone, which is good. That's a bit too much off that corner. Of course, there's a bit of mud there, so other people have obviously cut that too much as well. Oh, that's really nice. I got really... whoops, me being a noob. And the initial part of that corner, the car got quite loose due to the camera of the track and me taking the corner really badly. It was really nice how the back end stepped out. I think one of the crucial things with AC is just the way that you do, oh, that's a fail. You do feel in control of the car. When something happens, when you spin the car, when you lose control, when you miss a corner, it's your fault. It doesn't feel like it's the game's fault. with a lot of simulators, it often feels as if it was the simulator's fault rather than it being your fault. You didn't drive it in the very specific envelope that simulator requires you to drive the car. Definitely feels a bit calm though. I've put the view on, I've turned off lock to horizon, and that helps with being able to see bumps and motion with the car. It makes me feel far more attached to the car. I also removed the G-force on the camera, so you're far more rigidly locked into the car. I really like to feel glued to the car. Of course, a real race driver sat in a car is strapped in so tight, you're not moving. It's actually a crucial aspect of driving a real car, is being able to feel what the car is doing through your body. So the head would not be moving a quarter of a metre left and right from the G-forces. It'd be locked in. They'd even be wearing the hands device, which would keep their, oh dear, keep their head locked in place. So for me, I like to have things locked down a bit. Maybe that's one thing oh, I've done the same thing again. It's a tricky corner. Maybe that's one thing that AC could improve on, is low frequency vibrations a bit. I don't know, it's hard to do in a way where you don't end up just feeling motion sick. The engine sounds functional. I mean, there's a nice engine tone. It doesn't have much bite or grunt to it. So I think that's one of the disappointing things with this Assetto Corsa, is the sounds are not, in some ways they're realistic. I mean, if you're wearing a helmet and you're sat in a cockpit, a lot of these cars, you don't hear that much engine noise in the way you might expect. In a real car, you feel the engine vibrating your back, and yeah, it is noisy, but you there's so much other shit going on. If you listen to a lot of the onboard sounds, you'll find somewhere where the engine is ridiculously noisy and it sounds awesome, and then you find others where the engine doesn't sound particularly noisy at all. So it depends on where they put the microphone and what microphone they're using. So for me, a lot of it, with the engine sounds at least, is down to how functional the engine is. Is it conveying, if the rear wheels are spinning, or if you've got grip, what's going on? And I think the AC does that all right. I don't know if there's a slider for individual things like tyre skids or opponent volume, which would be worth checking out, because that's something that really helps, I think, in terms of getting some information about the car physics. Because with a simulator, there's nothing to go by. A bit of force feedback and the sounds, and then the visual. This car seems really nice to drive. It's really stable, really controllable. Personally, I think I'd prefer it if it had a little bit more power on the rear. So another thing with the AC is that a lot of the cars, you can stamp on the gas in low gears, and the rear wheels don't really tend to spin up. I mean, maybe that's how these cars drive, maybe that's a realistic way for them to behave, but for my own personal enjoyment, I really like it when you've got a car that's too powerful for its rear grip, so you can put a bit of throttle on and balance the car's rear end on the throttle with it skidding out a little bit. It's just an enjoyable handling characteristic. Oh, this car it's got an angle to it where if you go past that angle, you start getting into a ever-increasing power slide. Oh no, I'm too slow. Let's do less talking and more driving. his lap times are horrendous. Sacked off the team. It feels really nice when you bump over a curb, just the way the car joggles over it a bit. Ooh, that was nice. Just a little snap twitch there to keep the car in line. I just love in this game how connected I feel, even with a old school G25. You just feel really, really connected to what the car's doing. What? It's really hard to get the balance just right to carry speed through the corners. I think for me that's why I lose the vast majority of my time in AC, is not carrying enough speed through the corners after the braking point, or so just hitting the right speed to be on the limit without any gas on, if that makes any sense. Probably doesn't make any sense, and I'm probably talking absolute nonsense. Oh, too fast. I really like how the car's handling this, or this car especially at the moment. As you dab the brake, so you go through a corner and you just put the slightest amount of brake on, you feel like you've got a really good gradient of control in terms of using the brake to control how the car's going to take the corner. I should put the RSR live timing app on, and then we'll actually see how far off the pace I am. So I generally find, unless you're within, say, I don't know, with a GT3 car, say like a second, maybe 2 seconds of an alien, you're really going to be doing something fundamentally wrong on the lap. And so you have to be within a certain time threshold of the leading laps to really have an idea of, you know, what the car handles like when you're truly on the limit. Of course, you don't have to be completely on the lap time limit to be able to have a reasonable feel of the car and know if you like it or not. But I think it does help if you're going to really try and evaluate if a car's good or not, or if it's good for you or not. Unfortunately, I don't have the immediate alien skill that some people seem to have, where they can just jump into any car and within 4 laps produce an alien lap time. But to be honest, I think those people, they must have some kind of cognitive issue that allows them to sim race fast. Either that, or I've got some kind of degenerate brain condition that causes me to be a very slow learner. But I like to make the excuse that I'm more of a multiplayer, strategical racer. And my talent, oh dear, that's my talent there. Look at that drift, that was done on purpose. My personal talent comes in when it's down to thinking about how to overtake another driver. So I may be lacking in overall track pace, but I outthink the opposition. That's what I like to tell myself. Because sim racing is all about ego, which is why everyone has to have the fastest lap. Because if you're the fastest at driving a car around a track, then you're a better person. I think that's how it works. One thing which is going to be really, really exciting is playing these driving simulators, whichever one, RFS2, iRacing, Game Stock Car, Assetto Corsa. Oh dear, I keep doing that same thing actually. It's going to be really interesting to play these with a device like the Oculus Rift. The new Oculus Rift, if you not up to date on it, and they keep adding to it. It'll already be at least 1080p resolution. They've added proper head tracking to it, like track IR system, very similar to the track IR system. So it won't drift if you're familiar with the first version of the Oculus Rift. Oh, my tyres, I think my tyres might have worn out a little bit. But the consumer version of the Oculus Rift, which should be coming out within the next 6 months at least, maybe 7 months, from people behind the scenes, looks as if it's going to be an absolutely game-changing device for gaming. Unfortunately, driving simulators are kind of a match made in heaven for the Oculus Rift out of the box. So that's going to be a really exciting thing to try with the current crop of simulators, and I'm especially looking forward to playing it with Assetto Corsa. That's because I'm a bit biased and I have an attraction to this game. Yeah, it seems like my tyres are worn out a little bit, so I'm getting into more of these weird slides. Right, I'm going to restart this session. Let's see. Restart. I can try and do a fast lap. As for this car though, it's as solid as any of the other cars in AC. I'd like a bit more power from the rear when I power out corners. I don't know if that's how the real car would handle or not. If you could just simply floor the throttle in real life. But it doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it, as far as I can tell. Actually, I'll try and do this fast lap, and then I'm going to try and do a squirming lap. I'll see how much you can throw the car around. Bit too much engine braking there. You could definitely carry way more speed through a lot of these corners. Which seems to be in AC, there's a really tight margin between getting a good lap in terms of time or throwing all that time away. It's really hard to get it just right. Can't even remember where the brake point was here. When in doubt, go by the rubber on the floor. Oh, I lost so much time doing that. Obviously, that's not how you take that corner. All the corners on this track are easy to lose time on as well. It's a combination between AC's physics and the nature of this track. So, well, for me, this has to be one of the hardest tracks to lay down a perfect lap where you nail every single corner exactly right. Right, let's do some skid. Whoa, God. Okay, that's not how you do skid. Let's restart. Sorry, I just broke my car. Probably, I don't know how much these cost. 600,000, 200,000. It's all right. I've got 3 in the garage. You can balance it a bit. I think when you get up to speed, does it have a? Yeah, it's got a giant wing on the rear. When you get up to speed, I think that just bites in so much that if you start to slide, you know, it's going to just start doing really weird things. So, any sliding you're going to be doing, ideally, a bit at low speed. I don't think these GT3 cars are designed to be drifted. Oh no, too much. Put the rear wheel on the grass. What I really like about AC is that all the cars just feel really solid. even if they don't match up one-to-one with their rear wheel counterpart, and I wouldn't know because I've never driven any of these cars in real life. Even if they don't match up, they're just satisfying to drive. They're just consistent. There's really nice depth to the physics. They respond really nice to the throttle and brake input. So even outside of a simulator, even if you were going to just forget the whole what's more realistic and what's not anorak discussion, it's just a good game. This car is really hard to get in a sustained slide. There's a definite angle to this car where it goes, right, that's it, I'm going to continue on round the slide and there's nothing you can do. You can get a good degree of recoverable angle before it's bye-bye. Oh. The exact point at where the wheel bites back in is a bit ambiguous, I think. But it's at the point on the G25, I find anyway, that if you're turning the wheel more than, say, about 60 degrees, then the G25 is just too slow to be able to catch and rotate properly. Whereas I think if you were to play this with a servo wheel, you'd probably be able to catch these high opposite lock slides a lot easier, or the wheel would just catch them automatically and it'd be more up to you to catch the wheel rather than to catch the car. That's my intuition anyway, could be wrong. Oh yeah, I think the car prefers to be driven in a straight line. But it's really nice where you would be driving the car. Realistically, you're not going to be drifting this car like a buffoon. If you were driving this car properly and you're trying to do fast laps, I think for multiplayer online racing, this car seems like it'd be nice and stable. The braking takes quite a distance, which I think will catch a lot of lower skilled drivers off and end up with a lot of rear ending. But other than that, it's a really nice progressive GT car, and with the other GT cars in Assetto Corsa, it really complements them well. So, Kunos, please hurry up with the multiplayer. I don't want to rush them because I don't want it to come out broken. But I just can't wait to play this game online with other people. On that note, join the Steam group. ACRC, Assetto Corsa Race Club on Steam. We're going to be, as soon as multiplayer comes into the game, we're going to be doing arranged pickup racing, and it's just a good chance for people to meet other people interested in multiplayer racing with Assetto Corsa. And of course we play other games as well, but the Steam group's there so that hopefully when the multiplayer comes out with Assetto Corsa, it shouldn't be too hard to either meet up with a bunch of people using the chat room, jump onto any public server and just organise jumping into a game, so if there's an empty server we can all just populate it, and maybe, depending on resources at the point in time when multiplayer comes out in AC, we might have our own server up as well. So join there. The way the cars stop. Join the ACRC Steam group. Get Assetto Corsa if you don't have it already. You probably do if you're watching this video. Fantastic car to drive. Gorgeous car model. I mean, it just looks amazing. Let's see the replay. Really good fun to drive this car into normal speed. yeah, subscribe and like if you enjoyed my weird sim racing videos, and join ACRC. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully it was mildly informative, more informative than infuriating, and I hope you had a good Valentine's Day, which was yesterday. Thank you and goodbye.